Hey guys, I'm gonna be drawing some zombies and coffee today. A couple of my favorite subjects, I guess. Zombies, not so much. Like I don't like watch a lot of zombie movies or read a lot of zombie comics. It's just they happen to be really fun to draw. Monsters in general are fun to draw, and if you draw or sketch monsters or anything, I guess you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's like one of those subjects that you could just mess up on, and I don't think anybody could tell. Or if you like get up and walk away from your drawing or sketch for a while and you come back and you see a monster, it's like you don't really see too many mistakes, or you kind of forget about the ones that you thought you made in the first place. That's kind of how this one is, or was for me. Like I was being timid as usual because I'm using a little marker highlighter as my underdrawing, and like I want to get it as good as I can to the original drawing I got in my head, but I start loosening up a little bit later here. Then I just sped it up. You're not have to wait forever for it to get done. It's just the underdrawing anyway. For his hand there, I got the a little bit of his skin hanging, his arm skin. So I got that from the Evil Ernie. Whenever I was drawing him, I was doing some research. I bought the 5-issue mini comic of Evil Ernie. I still haven't got all the way through it. I think I'm on issue 3 right now. It's funny, I'm reading like sorry, that's my dog. She's right next to me again. She's a pit bull. I'll probably insert a picture of her on the side here if I can. So if you hear snoring or someone disgruntled because I'm talking to myself, it's my dog. Her name is Nikki. All right, but what I wanted to say about the hand was I imagined it like the typical monster hand, kind of like his right hand. Sorry, it's like where it's kind of got that double. I don't know how to describe it. Like his wrist bump, and then it goes down, and then it goes back up again with the fingers. So that's how I imagined his left hand. I guess I'll just explain it more when I'm inking over it. And then I was just trying to make this guy like look as mean as possible, and I went with the pink ink this time. I was gonna go with the purple. The purple seems a little bit more like stands contrasting to the green, but I don't know. I was kind of testing on the side with the paper. I thought the pink went pretty good with the green. Actually, aesthetically pleasing for a sketch. And so I decided to draw a monster with it. And half of his skin on his face is gone. I kind of like that zombie look, where you don't draw the lips and you don't draw the snarl. I mean, the snarl you could see the snarl without having to. I don't know where I'm going with that. Without having to draw the lips, I guess I just thought it was pretty interesting. And then, of course, he's got to have some tattered clothing. Then here I'm drawing the tendons. I was getting a little nervous about that because I do this like little crisscross method, and then I'll go in and kind of darken in between the crisscrosses to make it look like the tendons are all like crossing over each other and stuff, and trying to make them pop out from the rest of the neck. But I started to get lost. I was like, oh crap, which tendon crosses over which? And so it looks a little bit more like mechanical or spider webby than how I was hoping for it. But that I notice that happens quite often when I try to draw more than 4 or 5 tendons and go from the neck. But this guy, I mean, you could just look at his face. I figured, it wouldn't matter too much to go a little overboard with it. And then Yeah, I gotta darken up the eyebrows, or the unders of the eyebrow, make him look more menacing, and his face a little more sunken in, and patches of hair instead of a full amount of hair. To make him look more like he's decrepit and falling apart, and yeah, a chunk of his skin missing. And I was trying to make that look like his muscle on his head when it goes back to it, but I was thinking it looks a little too shiny, so I kind of go over it again a little bit more to add kind of color to it, or make it look like there's a little color to it. And then, yeah, more chunks of his hair. For his eyes there, it's a little tough to make I don't know, he's like too small. I should have made him a little bit bigger, so then you could see the wrinkles on his eyes a little better. I guess the good thing about that is when you're doing wrinkles on a zombie's face from this far away, or when you're making them that small, is you kind of get away with like less is more. So then it looks like it's more detailed than it actually is, I suppose. For this arm, yeah, I was trying to make it more menacing, like I was talking about that hand, but it to me it ends up looking. I kept thinking of that Austin Powers, the second movie there, where he's like he's like, no, you're a tiger or something, and it's like I think he jumps on the couch and he starts or the bed, and then he has someone else take pictures of him, and then he's like doing this like meow kind of. Anyway, it looks like he's trying to impersonate a cat more than like scare somebody or have that menacing hand look that zombies or the Mummy or the old school Universal monsters did. So I kind of laugh when I look at this pose because, yeah, I'm a cat, meow, whatever. Okay, so then I was trying to draw a little bit of muscles there because, zombies, they always look skeleton-like for the most part, unless they're like new zombies. Like on Zombieland, I think there's some like overweight zombies at first. Or am I remembering that right? I don't know. I remember the beginning anyway, at least, where there's like this overweight guy running away from a zombie. He got caught, and it was all about the rules of surviving a zombie apocalypse. It was cardio was like one of the rules, and so I mean, I imagine that the zombie started out as an overweight guy anyway. So back to the drawing. I'm doing some shadow work on the folds of the shirt. I still don't really have a plan. I'm just kind of figuring out some pinch points where I know some lines would go. And then, yeah, tightening up the tendons on his neck. They ended up looking like, I don't know, not as cool as I wanted them. Like the Dale Keown kind, like where it just looks natural and slightly gross, but it just looks great. Is not how mine came out. Working on the arm, I forgot about the arm when I was trying to throw the shirt down there. I tend to do that. Like I'll picture one arm and then completely forget about the other arm. But once I get to it, it's like, oh man, I have to draw the other arm, otherwise it'll look weird, especially cropped out of the picture like that. It would, I believe they call those consider those tangents also. If like you crop out a limb or a body part right at the joint, like that. I guess that's kind of like a stopping point for people. They look and try to kind of figure it out. For most people, from what I'm told anyway, by getting my portfolio reviewed over the years. And then that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to have the people stop, people that are looking at your work stop and try to figure out what's wrong with it or something. Because I would fear that would take the person out of the story. Like if somebody stopped for something that was glaringly obvious to them in the picture. Okay, now I'm just doing some hatching, trying to get some shadows going. This is the point of the drawing where I kind of like look away every so often, and then I don't know, something stands out to me, so it's like, oh yeah, and then I'll add some more shading, and I guess I was done with this, and I forgot to add I wanted somebody pouring this guy coffee, because he's a zombie that wants coffee. I'm trying to make a little story with my sketch. Like, something's going on, and I guess I didn't speed this part up. I don't know, maybe I draw it really quickly. I can't really remember. This is a different day that I'm doing the voiceover. I'll just trust Sheldon from the past. Like, he knew what he was doing. I was looking at a reference for this cup, a coffee pot or coffee carafe. But yeah, the coffee getting poured into a cup. I was looking at a picture before I did it, but the coffee carafe that they had, it was like a weird one. It was like a bowl, and it had like a really long pouring spout. But the main thing what I was looking for, it was for the hand hanging onto it, just so it looks, more believable. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything, not for me, because like I look at the picture and then draw it, my stylized version of how I draw things, I guess. Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like I sped it up finally. Drawing fingernails, not broken, so they're not as fun to draw. Yeah, I'll draw this guy's fingernails. I'm pretty sure this guy right here, I add the fingernails on and they're all busted up. Or I might do it in the next panel. I guess I'll be finding out when you find out of that. Let's see. So this cup, I'm pretty sure that's pretty close to the reference that I dug up. It's kind of like a big cup with a little saucer, and then it had like a spoon in there, but this dude don't need no spoon. Pretty sure the person pouring him the coffee knows that also. It's just like, just get this person coffee ASAP. Alright, so here's the panel number 2. I wanted to make it bigger, keep things interesting, not just have this guy the same size. I didn't want it to be a comic strip. It seems like a lot of strips, like newspaper strips, they tend to do like every panel is like they're all the same size. I wanted to do this one more like a modern comic book style, where they, change things up and keep things, the eye flow movement. Hopefully I did a good job. I'm not 100% sure. I think in my head I see in panel, like the hand, like you see the zombie, you see the cup being poured, the coffee poured into, and then you follow the hand up into this top panel up here, and then the panel, the coffee cup, you see the bottom, and then you scan. Okay, so first you see the zombie's guy's head, and then second is the cup, and then third would be the hand, and the hand's fingers are pointing down to the third panel. So, that's how I read it. Hopefully it goes good enough to work. That's supposed to be all like subconscious stuff, things you don't need to waste your mental sweat on. You just do it. It flows. That's why they call it flow. When I was bringing my portfolios to comic conventions and stuff, flow wasn't anything they brought up ever for like the first probably like 7 years, maybe 6 years. But I remember the first few years that just everyone kept telling me to just work on anatomy. Oh, and then making dynamic poses. And perspective, I heard that a few times. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen my glaring problems at first before the whole adage of like crawl before you walk. But then, yeah, when I started getting better, nobody brought up anatomy anymore. At least, thank God. I was learning, but they brought up like how the story didn't flow. I heard one editor call it like jacking up the eye, is what he said. He was saying like in every panel that I was doing, the portfolio that I showed him, he said like all the attention was in the middle of each panel, and then he said you should make it more visually appealing by, like you said, jacking up the eye, where the focus would be in different parts of panels. It wouldn't always just be in the center. And I'd never even heard of that before. And that's when I started paying attention. Like, oh, okay, then I'll change these things. And then from the next portfolio review I got the next summer, this guy was saying like, okay, but you gotta like do the flow. And yeah, that's where I really remember hearing flow for the first time, where like panels lead the eye into the next panel that's supposed to be read. Like from that first panel, you see the hand pouring the coffee, like you're following all that. You go from the zombie to the coffee to the pitcher, carafe, whatever, to the hand, following the hand into that second panel, which is the zombie. First thing that should grab your attention is his face, the cup, and then the fingers with the busted up fingernails that I like to draw, pointing to the third panel. Yeah, so that's what I was meaning to do there. Hopefully it went well and like nobody had to try to figure out, or well, I guess you don't get to see the finished product just yet, but when you do, hopefully it won't be something hard to figure out. It'll just be a fun, digestible step in the day. Step in the day? No, it'll be I don't know, hopefully something nice to watch, maybe listen to. Maybe you're drawing along. That'd be cool. I love sketching. I think everybody benefits from it. It seems like everybody always starts out as little kids, with the crayons and stuff, and we're all sketching and drawing. But yeah, even when you get older and you like stop drawing and sketching or coloring, but when you do it, like if you're on the phone and you're kind of doodling around, or you're at a meeting and you just doodle, class, whatever, I don't know, it seems therapeutic, I guess, stress relieving. Might even like help you when you're concentrating on learning things. I don't know. I think it's beneficial, like no matter who you are. And then especially as like I draw quite a bit. I'm not professional, not yet anyway. But like when I'm drawing, like this is stress relieving for me, this part, because like the drawing monster, you can't draw them wrong. Like whatever, just give the person more scabs or sharper teeth or bigger eyes, So it's just kind of like free flowing thought. Just in the morning, waking up, drinking coffee, of course, and I want to start sketching and drawing and getting ready to start the more work part of my day where, I mean, yeah, the more, when I have a day off, the work part of my day where I'm coloring my comic book. The coloring my comic book, like coloring isn't my forte. It's not the what I'm used to. When I'm coloring is kind of like when I'm stepping out of my comfort zone for art right now. I get intimidated when I hear things like tertiary colors, or I still remember when I was watching David Finch's live stream with Dan DeSantos, and Dan DeSantis brought up that there are warm, cool colors and cool, warm colors, and I don't know. I didn't even really grasp that. I was like way too intimidated. Like, man, I'm not gonna catch on to coloring anytime soon. But I think it's a good thing for the coloring the comic to, like I said, get out of your comfort zone, and basically you have to start learning. Otherwise, it's not going to get done, and it has to get done. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this, is kind of like the fun part of my day, and get warmed up to start coloring. In the sketching and drawing, at least, you do the value. If I'm understanding correctly, the value is like the light to dark part of the coloring. So when you sketch or draw, you're kind of doing values, I guess. You'd have to add the shading, and the shading is the values. Otherwise, if you just do the outline, it's basically doing the like coloring book style. Anyway, what I meant, yeah, so the shading, that's like, understanding your values. And I think that helps out quite a bit when learning how to color. From what I could tell with myself anyway. All right, so yeah, this next panel I got going up, there's another thing I guess I didn't really even notice. This guy, he's like pointing up to panel. He's pointing up back to the panel, so it kind of like gives a passing of the baton subconsciously. That's my aim anyway, I guess. Or maybe it was my own subconscious, because now that I think about it, like I didn't really plan him to be like reaching up for that cup of coffee, so like the coffee, and then that's supposed to also be coffee spilling, so that's more reinforcement to bring your eyes downward. And then you got this guy, he's like reaching upward, well, raising his fist upward, so it's kind of like a two birds one stone thing happening, where both the panels are like working together. Oh, I did use some reference photo for this one also. I had to look at a picture of where this person's head was tilted upwards. I still have trouble with that sometimes with the nose, and like how it blocks the eye whenever you see someone's head tilted back. So I'll use reference for that. And I added the beard, 'cause I noticed, like, if you look the first panel, you see some kind of like goatee, mini beard, whatever. And then the second panel, you see some more hairs by his jawline. It's like his beard is getting bigger each panel, which I didn't mind. That was cool with me. And then so yeah, this guy, you could tell he's not a zombie anymore. He looks like a person again, and he looks like he's ready to conquer the world, which I guess that kind of like is how I feel when I drink coffee. It's like, all right, this is going to be a great day. One time I quit drinking coffee for like 5 months because I was hearing like how coffee's not good for you. It's like the egg, like, it's good for you, it's bad for you, it's good for you, like all these studies, and then I don't know who puts the studies on or whatever, but it's the same thing with coffee. It's like it's good for you. Okay, now it's bad for you again. Well, this new study came out. It is good for you. So anyway, yeah, that's why I quit drinking coffee for like 5 months. And one day at work, I was like, man, I don't think I can make it through today. It was like 6. Work started at 6 at the time, and it was like 6:10, and I felt like I was just gonna go to sleep. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make it through today. So I went to the break room, made a cup of coffee real quick. I took a few sips, and like just a few minutes later, I was like, holy cow! Like I feel all the caffeine like hitting me. It was like felt amazing. I felt like this dude crushing his coffee mug right in his hand. And anyway, I thought that was pretty funny because after that I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go back to quit drinking coffee. I lasted probably like 2 or 3 days. Then I got another cup, and then after that I was like, all right, I'm just a coffee drinker. I love coffee. I probably love that I'm addicted to coffee, but in any case, everything in moderation, I guess, right? Like, who was that? Benjamin Franklin who said that? All right, so yeah, I'm going back to this hand now, fixing it up. I think I had the fingernails. Maybe I don't. Oh yeah, so I grabbed out this. This is one of those bold, liner pens. It's Bic. It's the same color that I was using, except it's not. It's a 1.6 millimeter. So like, the ballpoint on there is like really huge. And they all come with this like gummy covering on it, so they don't leak, I guess. And it's tough to take off. It's like you gotta really scratch at it and stuff, and you'll tell when it's not on, or well, you could tell when it's not all the way off because it'll scratch in your paper. And yeah, so I was just kind of like fattening up the lines around them, doing some line weight. Sometimes I'll think I'm an illustrator, Alphonse Mucha style, and just heavily outline everything, like Adam Hughes style. But anyway, I was trying to concentrate focus on line weight, like thicker where the light's hitting, like keep it thinner, and then where the opposite that's facing away from the light, make it a little thicker. And in these I try to make the light look like it's coming at a slight diagonal from the top left down to the bottom right. Slight diagonal anyway, not a hard diagonal. And then I'm bringing this in to my my Sharpie there to a different color, just to make the outline border. What do they call those in comics? Gutters. And then, I was going to keep doing the gutter, but I was like, I'll do a fade on this. It doesn't have to be. Like, I didn't. I thought that the little lines there were tacky, I guess. So I was trying to add a little more flair to it. And then I didn't want to grab a straight edge, so I was doing the best I could. I was going from my shoulder to try to get straighter lines. Sometimes I'll go for my shoulder. I'm not too well practiced at that, so doesn't look as good as how I've seen other people do straight lines from their shoulder. But what I noticed helps for me, probably the best straight lines I could do, is when I rest my elbow on the table, and I just start drawing from my elbow instead of my wrist. And so that seems to be my favorable way to do straight lines. But these straight lines were pretty long, so I was just figuring I'd try from my shoulder. All right, so thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. You'll probably see a lot more sketching content like this. I know I said a while back that I would do some watercolors, dabble with some watercolors. I'm not too sure exactly all the shenanigans that are going to be going on, but it's most likely all going to be around drawing, sketching, stuff like that. And then here's a little bit of a jump ahead. Some stuff was bothering me, and I didn't have all the my phone out and the phone recorder holder set up, so I just started adding stuff. Like that made the little coffee a little darker, added some more. Well, you could see. So anyways, so have a great day. Thanks again for watching.